Morning, folks. Today's shave. It's going to be an experiment. I'm not the best with shave sticks, much less face lathering. So we're going to give it a try this morning. I'm going to use an Arko stick. You can tell I've used it before. And I'm going to follow up with Acqua Di Selva. I'll have a link down below for this. Excuse me. As well as a list of the top, middle, and base notes, and a brief description of what I guess you might say the manufacturer, designer of this particular flavor, what their thoughts were on it. And anyhow, I got a link to it on Amazon. Amazon seems to be the easiest place to find this. And if I remember right, this is where I got it from. That or I found it on eBay, one of the two. But it's a nice scent. My nose picks up the floral scent of sort. Yours probably pick up something totally different. You know how my nose is. It don't work half the time. Blade of the day is going to be an Astra. Sometimes they are referred to as Astra Green. Sometimes Astra SP for Superior Platinum. And it comes. The blade comes wrapped in just a plain single wrapper there. And I have it in. Don't know if you can see that. It says iKon right there on the end of the handle. Here, maybe that might look better. This is an iKon tech. I have not used the tech before. I have the slant. I have the OG1, and also here recently picked up the open comb, or the short comb, I should say. I'll have a link to all this because from time to time they have a tendency to run some sales. Excuse me. And the way I work this is quite some time ago I had picked up the slant. I think it is supposed to have a blemish. I picked it up, and then I picked up this handle. This is the only handle I have from iKon. All the rest are just heads, and you can do it that way if you want. But there's a pretty decent sale. In other words, by the time you go through their collection, if you will. And in other words, you can save yourself some money, just end up with one handle with 4 heads. And they have more than that. This is just where, I guess you might say, I drew the line. I stopped at. Over here, I got this is a RazoRock Blondie boar brush. Got it soaking in this coffee mug here. This mug's heavyweight. It's heavy even without the water. So what I was thinking is, I already put a hot towel to the face this morning, what I would do is I would go ahead and do part of my normal routine of using the Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements Christmas Preshave Cube. And in the past what I would do, and I don't know, some point in time I might try that here pretty soon, is to go ahead and try to put the soap on my face after the pre-shave. But today I was kind of thinking about maybe just doing it straight to the brush and then try to work the lather up on my face. Yeah, face lathering is not my strongest point. Bow lathering, it just always seemed to work well for me. I know when I first started trying to do the face lather, and it doesn't work out all that well for me. I need a lot of practice. And also, it would probably, if you're like me, not too terribly good at this sort of thing, or just starting out, it probably would make a world of difference if you would stick to one particular kind of brush, not, in other words, synthetic, boar, badger, horse, whatever it happens to be, is to stick with that until you get it under control. Because synthetics don't actually hold water in the bristle themselves, as opposed to in between the bristles, and then your natural knots will actually hold water. The bristles will actually soak up water, as well as holding it in between the bristles, and they seem to lather up different, plus as the brush broke in and all that sort of thing. So with a synthetic, you wouldn't have to worry about that sort of thing. It's synthetic or good to go. And then you just adjust accordingly. So, any rate, in other words, there's a number of factors that come into play. And then, of course, I've introduced the pre-shave soap, or if you're using a pre-shave oil, how that's going to may or may not affect how you lather, so on and so forth. I mean, there's a lot of factors. So with bowl lathering, it's just more or less how much water and product. For me, that's the biggest part of it. So this is going to get pretty messy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze most of the water out of this. That's, believe it or not, with a knot this big, with this kind of loft, it's got a lot of water. So I'm going to go ahead and straight from the stick. See, it's going to get messy. I don't know, I might change my mind and go ahead and try to. This is the part that I always had problems with, because I don't know if I squeezed out enough water. Am I getting enough soap? And then I have this tendency to, typically I would try to put it on my face and then I would do this part, just add a little bit more soap to it. So this is going to be an interesting shave. I do know that usually with the pre-shave I've already got at least something on my face. Because right now the lather, see, I still probably got way too much water in my brush. That's what I'm thinking. So I got lather going everywhere. Of course, then again, I guess the upside of this is I could always go back to the stick if I need to. It's kind of like going back to the puck to load your brush. And see, for me, it's one thing to work up enough lather for one pass, but by the time I get to pass number 3, that's where I typically run into problems. Because in other words, I've already used up what lather I've got stored in my brush. So loading the brush could be interesting. Let's try a little bit more water maybe. If you're wondering about this particular brush, I'm not sure where RazoRock gets their knots from. It does remind me of an Omega Professional. You can see, in other words, the first pass, yeah, no problem whipping up a lather. It's after that is where I start to struggle for some reason. But this knot, I don't find it that pokey. Straight from day one, I didn't feel like it was that pokey. It seems like a pretty nice knot. And the brush itself is inexpensive. In other words, $10 or less or something like that. In other words, it's not a, not a, $30, $50, $100 knot type brush. And the handle is plastic, I should say. Even if I splay it like this, which I typically don't do, I'm kind of a painter, it's not scratchy. It's not scratchy. Actually, it feels pretty decent. At least that's my experience. Now, yours could be different. Maybe I got lucky and got a fantastic brush and the rest aren't like that. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking the rest of them are pretty decent. I have got, like I say, I got lather everywhere. And I should say something about this, is that this wrapper, it's not exactly color fast. So some of that color, red, will come off, like on my towel down here. It'll come off, just to let you know. So if you get using a white one, you might want to use a different color. Fortunately, mine's not white. All right, here we go. First pass with the iKon Tech, Shavecraft Tech, something along those lines. Sometimes it's hard to keep track of all the names, keep them straight, as well as model numbers on the brushes and whatnot. Now, when I ordered this last set of heads, they sent the Astra greens with them, a pack. So I thought I'd just go ahead and roll with that. It's the first time I shaved with this one here. Shaves different than a Gillette Tech. Yep, definitely different. Mercy. Trying to figure out how to describe it, because it's not necessarily the blade feel. Probably what I'm feeling is the blade is very stiff in this. So as I feel it going through the whiskers, it stays stiff. It almost reminds me of a single edge. That's pretty awesome. Surprised, in other words. Because with a double edge, typically the blade being thin and whatnot, it will not feel quite like a single edge. This is feel pretty good. Pretty efficient, mercy. Yeah, pass 2 could be actually the touch-up pass. That's pretty good, like that. Kind of thought this might be a good lineup because I know that the slant is pretty nice. I like how it performs. For value, if you're wondering, because I think if you order the slant head with the handle, I think it's running about $35, which is not too bad. But if you're looking at, I guess you might say the whole smear, if you will, at a better value. RazoRock's German 37 is pretty hard to beat. It's a pretty nice shaver, and you can get it for, what is it, $15, $18, something like that. That has a lot also to do with what handle you order with it. Just a little bit more soap. Arko for me is pretty easy to lather up. In a way, it kind of reminds me of palm olive, or vice versa, depending on when I'm using it. I think I'm going to have enough lather for pass number 3. Not a whole lot left in there. In other words, I get kind of nervous when I get to the next next pass. I'm wondering if I'll have enough lather. So far, pretty good. I can already tell that I guess you might say my idea is that once I work through all the safety razors, double-edged safety razors, I started early, towards the end of November. And I was kind of thinking to get through everything I was wanting to do. It might run into the first part of January. But in other words, a video every day definitely would slow down. And I have some shaves off camera. And I think I might spend some time with this one here. Work through some blades and see how that works out. Because this definitely has a different shave feel than what I was expecting. Pretty darn efficient. I only have that little bit. There's just a little strip every once in a while through here that I have there, and I got some right here. There's just not hardly anything left on my face. Pretty efficient. That's pretty good, especially considering no more what you pay for the razor. Like I say, if I remember right, you can get it for $35 with the handle, and I think just the head is $25. I think I need just a little bit of water. Honestly, I'm not the best in the world when it comes to face lathering, but there's a part of me that feels the need to try to learn how. Because if you're traveling and you're trying to keep things kind of small, minimalistic, shave stick is definitely a way to go. And this one here, Arko, you can put it in a plastic bag, so it's, like I say, that label doesn't bleed red everywhere. Red and bleed. Yeah, you kind of see what I'm talking about when I get down to the last pass. There's plenty here for me. For somebody else, this may not be enough lather. This is plenty for me. But in other words, I think I can, at the end of my shave, I want to have plenty of my brush without squeezing it out. And I got just a little bit more work to do to get to that point. But not bad. Better than what I'm normally, at least where I feel like I'm normally at. Because sometimes by third pass, there's just not much there. It is pretty darn thin. This right here works just fine for me. This is going to be a very efficient shave. So I guess in a way what I'm trying to say is that if you're expecting to order the Shavecraft Tech and thinking that you're going to get something close to a Gillette Tech, I would have to say no. I don't think the two are close to being the same. Two totally different kind of shave feels. Very efficient though. I would almost have to give the efficiency rating to the iKon Tech. It is very efficient. Now, whether or not this particular blade is going to work for you or not, you just have to try that for yourself. I'm going to go ahead and take this apart and show you what this particular one here, the post is rather lengthy. It's a little bit longer than what I'm typically used to. It's what the bottom of the plate looks like. And go ahead and take this apart. Maybe. The blade is trying to come off with it, which it did. This particular blade, I guess you might say, is the old stock. If you can see that blade. The new stock, it has a different kind of print to it. In other words, the word there, that it's all solid in the ink, and the other one is not quite like that. And there's bottom of the cap. My first experience with this, that's pretty nice. That was a very enjoyable. What can I say? I think the setup I did pretty good. Got lucky, I guess you might say. Like I say, Arko, I never had a problem lathering it up. In other words, right off of a puck, just it lathers rather quickly for me. Gives me adequate slickness. It's inexpensive, and I say inexpensive depends on where you buy it, and once again, sometimes at the time of the year. I've seen it go as high as $3 a stick. I think when I bought mine, I think I paid 99 cents. In other words, wait for it to go on sale on Black Friday, stock up, and work that direction. Black Friday or something similar to that. Very smooth face, without even really trying hard. Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements, Crown King, Alum Block, complete with rubber band. My typical go-to. How big is this? Let me see. I'm wanting to say, is it 3.5 ounces? I don't see it right off the top of the label. But this thing here, it lasts forever. I think I paid $4.50 for it. It might have been less. Got just a little bit of stinging right through there. Really nice shave. Glad I picked this up. I've had this on my to get list for quite a while, and of course then they had the sale. So okay, now it's time. So I got the, I guess you might say, the 4 heads now, and the 1 handle. Not quite the complete setup that they have available. They have some more heads. I'll warn you, they're not cheap. In other words, if you're trying to stay within a smaller budget, I'm wanting to say that the handle and head of one of them is like near the $100 mark, if I remember right. Not exactly cheap. In other words, if you're looking to have an open comb, a slant, a tack, and then the other one, the OG one, I think is what it's called, where you've got a safety bar on one side and an open comb on the other side, which is a nice head. I mean, if you were trying to narrow it down to one, it would be kind of tough. Me, I would lean towards the slant. I like the slant. The slant works quite well. But boy, nice cooling effect this morning. Really enjoy that. Like I said, I don't, Gibson Care might carry this, but I found this on Amazon pretty easy, and you could probably find it on eBay also. This particular cap, I think the camera is showing that it's got that little post that comes down through the center that'll go through right through that plastic restrictor. Just right off of the right off of the glass container here. I think my nose might be kind of messing up with the in between the forest type scents and the floral scents. It might be more of a green is what I'm picking up, maybe. I don't know. Like I say, I wouldn't trust my nose too much. I know it is a really nice scent though. I probably should use this a bit more, but boy, it is 3.3 ounces, and I think on Amazon, I think the one that I got the link to, I think it's running right around the $15 mark, which is not bad. $15 for an aftershave seems to be about the going price, and it is a glass container, so if that really matters to you, this one here's I would think a try. For me, it was a buy. I do like it. It smells great. I actually did pretty good this morning. I'm kind of surprised. Saturday morning, it went great. Hope everybody's doing well. Stay healthy, stay safe, and smooth shaves to you.